I think, and this is probably also a good segue into talking a little bit about data centers and large loads and how we might be able to integrate these large loads in a way that is positive to both reliability and affordability. Or is that just that's maybe not possible?
Look, from a revenue standpoint and tax revenue standpoint for communities that they're in, they're great. So, we've got an obligation to serve. So I don't ever, take a position that they're good or bad for the economy. Yeah, I was at a Electric Power and Research Institute CEO meeting early last week, and it was all about AI. From all the multiple perspectives that they're going to impact our world, including infrastructure. And you can't put your head in the sand and hope they go away. They're here, and the economy is moving in this direction. So how do we ensure that we're balanced, and the significant need they're going to have for resources and protecting our customer, our current customer base from having to foot the bill for all that, and maybe over investing in transmission and generation and the things that we're going to have to do as a utility, and then they, maybe you pivot 10 years down the road and they're more efficient than they are today and don't need all of the things that you built to manage them today. I got 24 data centers at my doorstep right now. We're one of the hottest data center markets in the country. And while 2 gigs is the current projection for what contracts that have been signed, I got potentially 11 gigs of power, requirements that I'm going to need to figure out over the next 5 to 8 years as they come online. I think the difficulty in managing and really how we think about data centers is going to be over the next 5 years. You got to get them online and get some experience with them, to figure it out. And then, we'll figure it out and we'll move forward as an industry. So I think the pressure that we're all feeling, and, the concern that exists, both with our existing customers and the data center community, quite frankly, is just the unknowns, about getting them on the system. I agree with you. I think that, more and more the data center customer is willing to take on the resource risk of adding batteries or natural gas. I mean, a lot of them are going to go now. I would much rather have them on the natural gas system than using diesel generation, because it's cleaner, quite frankly. So if I can get them on solar batteries or natural gas as a bridging solution till we can connect them, transmission wise, then when we connect them to the system, those resources you can put back on the system, as a peaker plant down the road, and it benefits the entire market. So you got to look at it that way, I think, or all of us have to look at it that way as a potential solution long term. Now it's going to be smaller iterations. You're not going to run them unless you absolutely have to have them, but there's value there, right?